Greetings fellow Planeswalkers, I'm James and welcome back to the Commander at Arms YouTube channel. This week on the YouTube channel we're going to be breaking down our Judith the Scourge Diva deck. But before we get into that, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss an upload from us here at the Commander at Arms studio. Alright, with all of that, let's get into this video, shall we? So today we're talking about Judith the Scourge Diva. She's a 1 black and a red for a 2/2 legendary creature human shaman that says other creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Judith the Scourge Diva deals 1 damage to any target. Alright, so basically this is an aristocrat style deck, which is exactly what I wanted to do for our very first stream. We're going to go through the artifacts here real quick. We have Arcane Signet. This is a 2-mana rock, taps for any 1 color of your commander's color identity. We have Ashnod's Altar. This is a 3-mana free sack outlet that lets you sack a creature and you add 2 colors mana to your mana pool. We have Basilisk's Collar. This is a 1-mana artifact equipment that says whenever equipped creature has Death Touch and Lifelink and equips for 2. We have Bolas's Citadel. This is a 6-mana legendary artifact that says you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to the converted mana cost rather than pay that its mana cost, and has an activated ability of tap, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents, each opponent loses 10 life. We have Commander Sphere. This is a 3-mana rock that taps for any 1 color of your commander's identity. You can also sacrifice it to draw a card. We have Grafted Exoskeleton. Yes, I figured out a way to abuse that death trigger on Judith to kind of kill people with Infect. So this is a 4-mana artifact equipment that says equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has Infect. Basically, it deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters and to players in the form of poison counters. You get 10 poison counters, you lose the game on the spot. Whenever Grafted Exoskeleton becomes attached to a permanent, sacrifice that permanent and has Equip 2. After that, we have Mind Stone. This is a 2-mana rock that taps for 1 colorless mana, or for 1 mana and tap it, you can sacrifice it to draw a card. We have Phyrexian Altar. This is a 3-mana artifact free sack outlet for a creature to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. We have Rakdos Signet. This is a 2-drop rock that for 1 mana and tap it, you can add Rakdos to your mana pool. We have Skullclamp. This is a 1-drop artifact equipment that says equipped creature gets +1/-1, and when equipped creature is put into a graveyard or dies, essentially, draw 2 cards and has Equip 1. After that, we have Soul Ring. This is a mana rock. Everyone knows Soul Ring. After that, we're going to go into the creature package here. We have Blood Artist. This is a 2-mana vampire that says whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. We have Corrosive Mentor. This is 2 and a black for a 1/3 elemental rogue that says black creatures you control have Wither. They deal damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. So you can basically, whenever you sack something and then Judith deals damage to that creature, it's going to deal damage as a -1/-1 counter instead of 1 damage. So you can get around things like Indestructible because you're putting -1/-1 counters on it. After that, we have Dross Harvester. This is 3-mana 4/4 creature horror, protection from white. At the end of your turn, you lose 4 life. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, you gain 2 life. After that, we have Falkenrath Aristocrat. This is a 4-mana 4/1 vampire noble with flying and haste. Has a free sack outlet on it that says Falkenrath Aristocrat gains indestructible till end of turn. If the sacrificed creature was a human, put a +1/+1 counter on Falkenrath Aristocrat. We have Falkenrath Noble. This is a 4-mana 2/2 with flying that says whenever Falkenrath Noble or another creature dies, target player gains 1 life and they lose 1 life and you gain 1 life. We have Felden of the Third Path. This is a 3-mana 2/3 human artificer with an activated ability of 1 and a red and tapped. Create a token that's a copy of target creature card in your graveyard, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. It gains haste and you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. We have Grey Merchant of Asphodel. This is a 5-mana 2/4 zombie that says when Grey Merchant of Asphodel ETBs, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to the life lost this way, and each black pip in a card counts towards its devotion. So, we're basically going to be being able to, with Felden, make more copies of Grey Merchant out of the graveyard to basically drain our opponents out and we win the game. We have Grim Harrowspecs. This is a 3-mana 3/2 human wizard with morph. Not really relevant here. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. We have Harmonic Prodigy. This is a 2-mana 1/3 human wizard with prowess, which means whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. If an ability of a shaman or another wizard you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Judith is a human shaman. So, you sack one creature, you get to deal 2 damage from Judith. Fantastic. I love doubling up triggers, and this was a really spicy and flavorful way of doing that. We have Hissing Iguana. This is a 3-mana 3/1 lizard that says whenever another creature dies, you may have Hissing Iguana deal 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. Again, another good target for the Basilisk color or the Grafted Exoskeleton. We have Krenko Tin Street Kingpin. This is a 3-mana 1/2 legendary creature goblin that says whenever Krenko Tin Street Kingpin attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it, then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. We want things to sacrifice, and this is the best way to be able to do that. We also kind of want to give it evasion by putting Basilisk Collar on it or Grafted Exoskeleton on it, or just attacking with it, because I mean you're going to be making a lot of tokens. You can then sacrifice them, sack this thing, get another copy of it with Feldon, and then do it all over again. So with Krenko and Feldon, it's a bit of a small engine, nothing like explosive that's going to win on the turn that you do it. But you know, incremental value throughout the whole game is exactly what Aristocrats is for, and this is the best way that I found that we could do it. After that, we have Mayhem Devils. This is a 3-mana 3/3 devil that says whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, Mayhem Devils deals 1 damage to any target. Do you have a lot of treasures in your meta or any artifacts that want to be sacrificed? Mayhem Devils loves that. It's going to punish your opponents for sacrificing their treasures, sacrificing their clues, sacrificing their foods, or even if you're versing another another Aristocrats deck, this is going to get working hardcore. After that, we have Mikaeus the Unhallowed. This is a 6-mana 5/5 cleric zombie that has Intimidate and says whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. So we can sack out non-humans and then bring them back again to sacrifice them again and just get more and more value out of it. After that, we have Olivia Voldaren. This is a 4-mana 3/3 legendary creature vampire with flying and 2 activated abilities. The first one is 1 and a red. Olivia Voldaren deals 1 damage to another target creature. That creature becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. Put a +1/+1 counter on Olivia Voldaren. Her second activated ability is 3 black. You gain control of target vampire for as long as you control Olivia Voldaren. You're going to be basically stealing your opponent's best creatures and taking them. And then if they try to get them back, just sacrifice them, because that's what Aristocrats wants to do, and I love that plan. After that, we have Persistent Specimen. This is a 1-mana 1/1 skeleton, has an activated ability of 2 and a black. You can return Persistent Specimen from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. We have Pilthless Plunderer. This is a 4-mana 1/4 human pirate. This is whenever another creature you control dies, create a colorless artifact treasure token with tap, sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This goes accidentally infinite with a couple of cards in this deck. Didn't realize it until we playtested at the end of the stream, and chef's kiss, but not really actually chef's kiss. We have Reassembling Skeleton. This is a 2-mana 1/1 skeleton warrior, has an activated ability of 1 and a black. Return Reassembling Skeleton from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. We have Squee the Immortal. This is a 3-mana 2/1 legendary creature goblin that says you may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. Sacrifice it, bring it back out again, sacrifice it, bring it back out again, sacrifice it, bring it back out again. It's secret tech. Everyone loves Squee. We have Sir Conrad the Grim. This is a 5-mana 5/4 human knight. This is whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put into a graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent and has an ability of 1 and a black. Each player mills a card. We have Torbran Thane of Redfell. This is a 4-mana 2/4 he's a dwarf noble. If a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. So you're going to sack something, you're going to get 3 damage off Judith. If you have the Harmonic Prodigy out, that's 6 damage from one creature being sacrificed. If you have also Machias the Unhallowed, they get Undying, bring them back, do it again, that's 12 damage to somebody. That's enough to infect somebody out. I don't condone it, but I definitely do. So if you do end up infecting someone with this deck, I want to know about it. Just hit us up on Twitter because I definitely want to hear about it. After that, we have Treasonous Ogre. This is a 4-mana 2/3 Ogre Shaman with Dethrone. He also has an activated ability of pay 3 life to add 1 red mana to your mana pool. We have Vindictive Vampire. This is a 4-mana 2/3 vampire that says whenever another creature you control dies, Vindictive Vampire deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. After that, we have Viscera. This is a 1-mana 1/1 sack a creature, scry 1. We also have Woestrider. This is a 3-mana 3/2 horror that when it ETBs, you make a 0/1 white goat creature token and you can sack another creature to scry 1. It also has Escape for 5 mana and you exile 4 cards from your graveyard. If it escapes, you escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it, which makes it a 5/4, which isn't actually all that bad. It's pretty dang good. After that, we have Yahenni Undying Partisan. This is a 3-mana 2/2 Aetherborn Vampire with haste that says whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Yahenni Undying Partisan. Also has an activated ability of sacrifice another creature. Yahenni gains indestructible till end of turn. It's a free sack outlet and it's never going to die and it's just going to get bigger and it's just going to kill your opponents. After that, we have Yawgmoth Thran Physician. This is a 4-mana 2/4 human cleric, protection from humans, activated ability, pay 1 life, and sacrifice a creature to put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature and draw a card. Also, for 2 black and discard a card, you can proliferate. If you get 1 singular infect token on your opponents, just start proliferating them. Just start discarding cards out of your hand, drawing more cards, activating Yawgmoth, and infecting your opponents out. It's like I built this deck around being infected, but I really didn't. It is just still an Aristocrats deck, but there are some secret spicy tech, and that is the last time I'm going to Chef's Kiss in this deck tech. After that, we have Zulaport Cutthroat. This is a 1 and a black 1/1 human rogue ally that says whenever Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. We have Zerzoth Chaos Rider. This is a 3-mana 2/3 legendary creature devil that says whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, you create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Whenever 1 or more devils you control attack 1 or more players, you and those players each draw a card, then discard a card at random. It's going to be making you devils. You can then sack those devils, deal 1 damage, and go from there. It's a fantastic card, and it was also a very fantastic include, and I'm glad chat gave it to me because I never would have thought to put this card in a deck. After that, we're going to get into the enchantments here. We have Bitter Blossom. This is 1 and a black for a tribal enchantment fairy. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 black fairy rogue creature token with flying. After that, we have Dark Prophecy. This is a 3-mana enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, you draw a card and lose 1 life. You're going to be drawing a butt ton of cards off this card, and ever since I put it in my taste list, I have drawn who knows the amount of cards off this thing, but it has definitely helped me. Fists of the Demigod is a 1 and hybrid Rakdos for an enchantment aura that says enchant creature. As long as enchanted creature is black, it gets +1/+1 and has Wither. As long as enchanted creature is red, it gains +1/+1 and has First Strike. Again, just another way of getting Wither on Judith, so you can start, using her triggers to not only kill your opponents, but also whittle the board down from some of those pesky, things that you can't really get down with other things. I mean, does your opponent play a heroic intervention? Fist of the Demigod says, it doesn't matter if you got indestructible, I'm just going to put -1/-1 counters on you and you're going to die anyway. After that, we have Goblin Bombardment. This is 1 and a red enchantment that says sacrifice a creature, Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to any target. We also have Impact Tremors. This is 1 and a red for an enchantment that says whenever a creature enters battlefield under your control, Impact Tremors deals 1 damage to each opponent. Fantastic card. This with Krenko and also Felden and other ways of making tokens in this deck. Oh my lord. I said it was going to be the last time I did it, but I love this deck so much and I love the community helped me build this deck. All right. After all of that, let's go through our instant package here. The first one on our list is Abrade. This is 1 and a red for an instant that says choose one. Abrade deals 3 damage to target creature, or you can destroy target artifact. We have Chaos Warp. This is a 3 mana instant that says the opponent of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. The amount of times that I have flipped lands off top of this is just amazing. It's immaculate. 9 out of 10 times, it's a land or something you don't really care about. So you're getting rid of one problematic permanent to trade it in for a land. If it ramps your opponents, meh, doesn't really matter all that much. We have Corpse Dance. This is a 3 mana instant with buyback 2, which means when it's on the stack, as an additional, you may pay an additional 2 mana when you play this spell. If you do, put it into your hand instead of the graveyard as part of the spell's effect. So instead of resolving and going to the graveyard, you put it back to your hand. So for 5 mana, you can put the top creature from your graveyard into play. That creature is unaffected by summoning sickness this turn, which means it gains haste, and you remove the creature from the game at the end of the turn. So basically, you have to worry about your graveyard and the way that your graveyard is. You can't just be messing around with your graveyard if you play this card, because it has to be the top card of your graveyard in the way that it was put there. But you get to bring it back. It has haste, and then you have to exile at the end of turn. So not that big of a downside, and you just keep Corpse Dancing. This was a fantastic include, and I haven't seen this card since I was playing it way back in the day in Tempest. After that, we have Costly Plunder. This is a 1 and a black for an instant that says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw 2 cards. We have Deadly Dispute in the same vein, but you draw 2 cards and create a treasure token. We have Entomb. This is a 1 black instant that says, search your library for a card, then put that card into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. We have Fling. 1 and a red one and a red instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Fling deals damage to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. Get your Henny really, really big and then fling it at your opponents. We have Kazul's Fury. This is a 3 mana instant that says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Kazul's Fury deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. This is a 3 mana fling that is also a land on the other side if you need a land. After that, we have Rakdos Charm. This is Rakdos instant. Choose one, exile all cards from target player's graveyard, destroy target artifact, or each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. If you have a lot of token decks in your meta, Rakdos Charm is the way to get around that, because you just, like, out of nowhere, before a board wipe or something, just Rakdos Charm your opponent, deal a bunch of damage back to them, and then wipe their board. I have seen this done once from my wife, and it was pretty spicy, and I was very, very proud. After that, we have Terminate. This is a Rakdos removal spell that destroys target creature and it can't be regenerated. We have Thrill of Possibilities. This is 2 mana instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card and you draw 2 cards. We have Thrilling Encore. This is a 5 mana instant that says put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards in all graveyards that were put there from the battlefield this turn. So this is like a Second Sun like effect, but in black. So if you board wipe or, basically wipe the board and then Thrilling Encore, you can get all of the creatures that you just wiped back on your side of the field. I cannot wait to be able to do that. After that, we have Unlicensed Disintegration. This is a 3 mana instant that says destroy target creature. If you control an artifact, Unlicensed Disintegration deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. I didn't even know this card was printed or was even a thing. This is a fantastic card in Rakdos. I love this card. And again, it was another really great include. Normally we'd go over the land base, but the land base is pretty well self-sufficient for what you would see in Rakdos, with some stuff in here like High Market lets you sacrifice a creature to gain 1 life, just a free sack outlet on a creature. Nothing really stands out too much. I mean, we've got Yawgmoth and Cabal Coffers in here to make a butt ton of black mana. We also have Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. This is a land that enters the battlefield tapped. Whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut deal 3 damage to any target. So it's a land that just cares about lands coming in and then dealing damage to your opponents. It's not going to do a lot of damage in this deck because it was more, this card is more of like a one-on-one formatted card, but if you can get a little bit of chip damage in with this and then start sacrificing stuff to deal more damage, all the damage is going to eventually wind up killing your opponents, so why not try and get damage out of our land base as well. Lastly, we have one Planeswalker in the deck, and we had two, but it got cut for something else, and this was the only Planeswalker we could think that was going to go in this deck that was going to help and synergize with the rest of the deck, and that is Liliana Dreadhorde General. This is a 6 mana, 6 loyalty Planeswalker that says whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card, and has 3 loyalty abilities. The first one is +1, create a 2/2 black creature token, black zombie creature token. -4, each player sacrifices 2 creatures, and -9 as the ultimate is each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type, then sacrifices the rest. This is a board wipe and a card draw engine and a token generation and a free sack outlet all rolled into one. It is just insanely good. After that, we have our sorcery package here. We have Agadeem's Awakening. This is X and 3 black for a sorcery that says return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have a different converted mana cost, X or less, and on the back it's a land. You can pay 3 mana and have it come in untapped and taps for black mana. We have Blasphemous Act. Oh, there it is. Blasphemous Act. This is 8 and 1 red. So this is a 9 mana spell sorcery, but it gets reduced by 1 for each creature on the battlefield. This is 1 red. You're never going to cast this for any more than 1 red. Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. We have Damnation. This is the black version of Wrath of God. This is a 4 mana sorcery, destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated. We have Dread Returns. This is a 4 mana sorcery, returns like a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and you can flash it back by sacrificing 3 creatures, and then you exile it on the resolution. We have Faithless Looting. This is 1 red sorcery, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, and has flashback for 2 and a red. We have Living Death. This is a 5 mana sorcery. Each player exiles all creature cards from his or her graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures he or she controls, then puts all cards he or she exiled this way onto the battlefield. This is basically swapping your graveyard and your battlefield, and then just winning the game. And that's really all you want from this card. After that, we have Reanimate. This is a 1 black mana sorcery. Put target creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Lose life equal to that creature's total casting cost. We have Sign in Blood. This is a 2 black sorcery. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. I have killed someone with this card before. I'm like, oh, you're on 2 life? Well, guess what? Here's my 2 mana. Draw 2 and then lose 2. And they were like, damn, I really just lost to a cantrip. And I went, yep, it's a lot of fun. After that, we have Songmad Treachery. This is a 5 mana sorcery that says gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste till end of turn. And then it becomes a land on the back. And I believe this one can only come in tapped. So you can basically steal your opponent's biggest, nastiest threat and then sacrifice it. Or attack with it and then sacrifice it and get some more value out of it. And they've just lost a creature. Ah, so good. I love aristocrats. Victimize is a 3 mana sorcery. Choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard. Sacrifice a creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. Another way of getting creatures back out of the graveyard so that you can sacrifice them again and keep the engine going for Judith the Scourge Diva. And with all of that said and done, that is the deck that myself and the community brewed around on our Twitch streams. If you want to watch me brew these decks live, you can do it on twitch.tv/commanderatarms, where I go live on Mondays at 7 p.m. EST to live deck brew. If you want to have a chance to tell me what commander to build around for that streaming session, you can do it on our Twitter. You can find us over on Twitter at CMDR@arms. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload from us here at the Commander at Arms studio. And with all of that said and done, I'm James, and this has been another Commander at Arms Deck Tech. Peace.
See ya.